Well, welcome, and we're excited to have this webinar today with you all. My name is John Kellogg, and as the Vice President of Business Development at Listingbook, I'd like to welcome you to the first of a series of webinars that Listingbook will be hosting, designed to respond to questions and even concerns voiced from real estate agents who, like yourselves, want to take advantage of current technology and marketing trends. I believe you'll find the content of today's webinar both relevant and actionable in regards to the very important topic of building your personal brand. As a reminder, we're giving away an iPad at the end of the webinar, so stay tuned for the drawings, as well as we have a bonus giveaway that I'll be announcing just after the presentation. To address our topic of building your personal brand, we're excited to have the managing partners of Cave Social with us, Jordan Shulkin and Justin Kirby. Just to give you a little background, Cave Social is a digital marketing agency, and they specialize in real estate marketing. They provide social media support, branding, and advertising to agents and brokerages to help them grow their presence online. Jordan and Justin are both contributors to Inman News, Riz Media, and RE Technology, and they've written on a variety of topics ranging from search engine marketing to personal branding and beyond. Today they're going to be talking with us about how to build a personal brand online. So without further ado, I'll pass the webinar off to Jordan and Justin.
Hey, John, thanks. Excited to be here. Excited to join Listingbook and come on and hopefully give a bunch of actionable takeaways today to all the agents. I know Justin and myself are excited. We've been dealing with this for a while. With regards to digital marketing and real estate, we contribute, like John said, regularly on Inman. So we're really just excited. Today, as we go through the webinar, Justin and I will be on the entire time of the webinar, and we're going to be here too to answer any questions you guys have. So if you have any questions, throw them in the question box or the chat, and we will get to them throughout the webinar, and then we'll also open it up at the end for a Q&A. So what's in this webinar and what's in it for agents? We're going to go over a couple things. We're going to go over the best branding practices for you as agents. We're going to go over pro tips for each social network. We know that, on this webinar, we are going to have varying levels of expertise and experience. So we're going to go over just some tips for each network, how you can kind of really leverage your time and your effort to produce results. It doesn't take a ton of money. It just takes some good strategy and a little bit of effort, and you'll be well on your way to making a dent with regards to your brand on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So we're going to go over those 4 major networks in this webinar. We're also going to go over some mishaps to avoid. So this is stuff that Justin and I write about a lot on Inman, is mishaps to avoid and stuff we see that happens repeatedly with just common mistakes and people who are really just misunderstanding how to use social and how to market to the people who are on social. So we're going to go through that. We're also going to look at a little bit of why Listingbook, and one of the reasons we came on is because John and his team are just really, really nice and welcoming. But the other reason is they have an awesome product. So we're going to go through and talk about how that relates to all of the social points that we go over. And then at the end, we are going to open it up. So there will be a full 15 to 20 minute, we'll stay on as long as you guys are asking questions, but it'll be a full Q&A session on anything to do with social media, real estate marketing, digital marketing, you name it.
And if you guys have any questions throughout the webinar, there is a question box. You'll see it on the right-hand side of your screen. You can go ahead and type a question in there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions as we go along. If we don't get to your question right away, there are a lot of people on this webinar. If we don't get to it right away, we'll be sure to address it in the Q&A portion. So be sure to stick around to have your question answered. But also, as Jordan mentioned at the beginning, we will be giving away an iPad at the end of the webinar to anyone who sticks around till the end. So be sure to stick around for that.
Cool. So let's hop into the webinar, guys. So the way we're going to structure this is we're going to give you a ton of tips, and we're going to break them down. I believe we have 9 or 10 tips throughout this webinar that go across all different social networks. So kind of the starting point, and this isn't only for LinkedIn, this is for every single network that you sign up for, is to have an up-to-date profile. This is the first thing people see. It's often the last thing people see before they leave your social profile. It is so important that we have not only up-to-date work information, up-to-date contact information, but also an up-to-date photo. One of the reasons that this is so important is if you have a grainy photo that's, let's say, 10 to 15 years old, people are going to read through that. And consumers go through, they expect now there's a certain level, a certain standard that the real estate consumer of today expects, and that is a clean, professional photo. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to cost you a ton. It can, with the phones today, you can get someone to, take a picture of you seated in a chair, and as long as the lighting's okay, it's just a nice headshot. And make sure that is on all of your profiles, because in real estate, more than any other industry, right? You are the brand. Your face, your name, the emotions that you make people feel when you meet with them, that is your brand. So every time you walk out and go and meet people, you host an open house, whatever it may be, you're developing and representing your brand. The same thing goes with any time you create a social profile, you tweet, you write a Facebook update, whatever it is, that's representing your brand. So we want to make sure that right from the get-go, all of your stuff is up to date, has a nice photo, and people are able to get in contact with you.
And one other tip that we want to stress here is that in particular on these three social networks, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook, go ahead and use the same profile picture that you have on each social network so that your branding stays consistent. And this is especially important for anyone who might have a generic name. Down here in Fort Lauderdale, my real estate agent's name is John Neal. That's a pretty common name. There are a lot of John Neals, even just in the South Florida area. And making it easy for me to find him on Facebook versus LinkedIn, I know what he looks like, but having the same picture across all three networks, it's really important for making it easy for people to find you on that network, and so that they're not spending too much time on the network searching and then getting tired and saying, oh, you know what, forget it, I don't need to connect. Make sure that your branding is consistent across all three of those social networks. That's LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.
That's a great point. And just kind of builds on it, that we got to put our best foot forward, right? And that's whenever, when you shake someone's hand, you smile. So let's make sure that we got a good picture up when you're smiling, and it's that same feeling, right? When someone comes to your LinkedIn or your Facebook or your Twitter page. The next tip. This next tip is actually specific to LinkedIn. And what this is to always be adding contacts. So this is a 10-minute per week job. It takes about 10 minutes to go through and just add contacts on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of those platforms where you're actually able to, upload your contacts right from your phone. So if you've got somebody's phone number or you have their email, you're able to then find them on LinkedIn and connect with them. Another cool tool, if you use Gmail, is to use the extension called Reportive. So we will type that up into the chat, and that's the Reportive extension. And what the Reportive extension does for you is anytime you have an email with someone, it actually brings up all of their social information on the right-hand side within Gmail, and you are able to add people on LinkedIn right from your email. So you don't have to go to LinkedIn, type in their name. You can add right from email. Now, why is this important? What it comes down to is you have to build connections both offline and online. And one of the easiest things to do is when you meet people offline, the best time to add them online is within 24 to 48 hours. So if you meet people, prospective client, whatever it may be, spend the 10 minutes per week, go search for them on LinkedIn, add them, and now you're connected. So anything you go and anything you post from here on in, they're going to be notified when you do. It's one of those networks that I think is very underused in real estate and has a ton of value. If you do connect with people, let's just make sure that we're connecting, and anytime we reach out to them, we're starting a genuine conversation or writing a recommendation or liking their post, all of that stuff that is really native to social media. That definitely do not add people and then spam them, and we'll get into that a little later. But I just wanted to make sure that we're going and we're adding people, we're adding contacts, and we're making sure that our brand is yourself, and it's connecting with people.
And if you don't use Gmail, it's no problem. Report It only works in Gmail, so that extension is specific to Gmail. But if you're not using Gmail, if you're using Outlook or you're using another email provider, just be sure that when you go out and show a client a home for the first time, when you get back to the office, or as soon as you get, you step in your car, not when you're driving, but when you step into your car, be sure to look them up on LinkedIn and add them right away. It's a great thing to make a habit of, and it really does keep you top of mind when you're dealing with your customers. They won't forget about you if you do connect with them on LinkedIn and they see that you're actively posting. So that's just something to keep in mind. To speak to Report It a little bit more, if you are using Gmail, we've dropped the link there in the chat. If you're using Gmail, you can download that extension. And what it does is anytime you email with someone, it'll pull up the nice little picture in the right-hand side of your email and offer the opportunity to connect with them on LinkedIn. So you can see here, Jordan was having an email conversation on the screen with a girl named Chrissy Shiflett out of North Carolina. And just by sending an email with her in the right-hand side of his screen, her profile popped up, and he was able to add her on LinkedIn right away. So it just makes it very easy to connect with contacts. So if you are using Gmail, we highly recommend that you click that link in the chat box and that you install that app, and you'll be on your way to getting more LinkedIn connections in no time.
And one of the powerful things too, before we move on to the next slide, is connections on LinkedIn. It's acceptable to be a little bit more informal with regards to comparing to Facebook. Is a lot of times people don't want to become Facebook friends with people that they work with. Either they're sharing photos of their children, or they're sharing photos out with their friends on a fishing trip, stuff that they want to keep a little bit more personal. LinkedIn is different. It's a different beast in that, it's the professional space, it's the professional social network. So people are much more willing to connect with people that they, have just met or have are casual acquaintances with, where I feel Facebook is definitely a place where people are more reserved with their personal information and letting you into that world right away. So I would definitely take advantage of this opportunity on this network to go out and make sure that you can really, you can build your LinkedIn following. So it's a great opportunity. And building on this with Listingbook, one of the cool things that Listingbook has is if you're working with the Listingbook platform, you're actually able to show property detail pages, and you're able to share them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. It's one of these things that you can take properties. Now, we don't recommend, sharing properties on LinkedIn 3 times a day, every day, but once a week, taking a property, if you have a real featured property and posting it, it's a great thing to post on social media. And this is because though the people in your network may not be looking for that property, right? They may not. Those people all have their own networks. And if you've ever met someone who's thinking about purchasing a home, it's usually all they talk about, because it's the biggest financial decision that they've made for the most part in their life. So a lot of times everyone's informed. So if you share a property that's beautiful, and hey, we got this property, it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, whatever it may be, you'll find that people will actually go. They may not comment on it, they may not share it directly, but they'll take it and they'll go to their friends and say, hey, you need to check out this property. Here's the link. I think it'd be great for you and your family. So just something to be aware of that, the Listingbook program can do. And it's like I said, one of the reasons we came on is they allow for these cool little features that, can connect you with consumers in ways that, a lot of other programs can't. Our next tip. And this one is called blog, blog, blog. It really should be called content, 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 because if you're great at making infographics, so you're great if you want to make little videos off your phone, or if you want to write blogs, like here you see these are 3 blogs that I wrote in the last year, and we'll get into these blogs and more so what the effectiveness of them is compared to maybe just posting every week. One of the things you can do with blogs, and the thing that I really find to be amazing about creating content on the internet, is you're able to build your audience and you're able to do it in an organic fashion. Now, a lot of people, they write a blog or they say, I can't write, or they say, hey, I don't have a big enough audience, or, it's easy to get discouraged. There's a couple things with blogging that I think that are super important to the real estate space. First, when you're going to create content, you have to ask, it should always be value for your consumer, not value for yourself. And that should be what you're trying to do. So whenever you write something or you put together any piece of content, say, is this valuable for my consumer or is it valuable for me? So we do see, a lot of errors that happen, or agents who are posting, hey, buy this house now, hey, contact me today. And they're just ask, but they haven't given any value. Blogging and creating content gives you an avenue to give value to people long before you ask for it. And then kind of building on that, a lot of people, it's easy to get discouraged, and it's easy to, and anyone who's here, I'm sure out of the attendees, we have a ton on today, I'm sure people have attempted blogging before, and you may have become discouraged because you wrote a blog and you spent a ton of hours on it and you put it on your Facebook, and 31 people read it. And it's easy to think, only 31 people, right? And I think it's so easy for us today to kind of lose sight and say, and forget that those are 31 warm bodies, where if I were to walk up to anyone here today and said, I have an opportunity for you tonight to go and speak at the local high school, I have a classroom full of adults that want to hear what you have to say about real estate, right? I have people who are interested. I have 31 people, or I have 52 people, right, who are interested in what you have to say. Everyone on this webinar would take that. I would take that. I would go there. I would master a speech. I would have it ready to go. So I think it's something that it's so easy to think, oh, that's only 30 people, without really truly visualizing, hey, that is 30 people, that is 10 people, that is 12, 100 people, whatever it may be, warm bodies who are there to listen to what you have to say. So it's something that should not be undervalued.
And while we're on the subject of blogging, I think that it's really important to talk about what type of content you want to be blogging about. So often in real estate, you'll hear the phrase location, location, location. When you think of blogging for your audience, you want to think local, local, local. So the stuff that you write should all be about the community where you're from. So whether you're rating the best restaurants in the area, you're talking about the best school districts in the area, you want to write about the best moving companies in the area. These are all things that people in your area are going to be searching for on Google. And since you're from that area and you're writing about the topic, you're just that much more likely to be showing up in search engines with that content. So when you're thinking about the type of content to create for your blog, be sure to keep the focus on local, because those are the people that you want to connect with and that are ultimately going to turn into prospects and then into clients down the road. So just keep that in mind when you're considering what you want to post on your blog.
No, for sure. And one of the things too, when you're building that local content, and it's kind of building off both of what Justin and I said, is, you got to build this local content. You got to give value, because those are the people who are going to be moving and who could be potential clients, right? And then also when you're getting 30, 40 views, it's important not to get discouraged, because those 30 to 40 people, it's kind of like, finding gold. You go and you hit the mines, you don't know what's happening, but occasionally you're going to write a blog post and you're going to see it take off. So here's a blog post I put up, 4 months ago, and it has 5,000 views, right? And that generated a bunch of people messaging me, all these things, comments. I felt I was really interacting with my audience. What I think is really important to note from this is I probably wrote 20 posts before this that all got 30, 40, 26, 71 views, right? It wasn't just to write something and it takes off. But those 30, 21, 42 people, when they found something that they really liked, they were able to take that content and then they all shared it. And then you guys know how it goes. When something gets shared on Facebook once, sometimes it seems like it'll get shared 20, 25 times. So this is really important to note when you're building content. Don't get discouraged. Keep building. If you look at your content and say, I'm producing value, you're going to see the results. It might not happen on your first post. It might not happen on your fifth. It might happen on your 10th or 15th post. But this is one of those things that when you're building this content about your local area, you are building your brand as the local expert, as the point of reference. People want to come to you for all the information about the area.
And I think that another interesting point here is that while some of you that are attending and listening right now may have their own personal blog, if you do have a personal blog, then that's great. That's the place where you want to be contributing your content to. If you don't have a personal blog though, and you're not looking to get one set up, a great alternative is using LinkedIn Pulse, and that's actually what Jordan has written this post here on how I became a morning person on. It's on LinkedIn Pulse. Within your LinkedIn, there's a Pulse tab within LinkedIn, and you can actually write stories right within LinkedIn that'll then get shared to your followers and your connections on LinkedIn. So it's a great alternative if you don't have your own personal blog set up within your website. Contributing to LinkedIn Pulse, you can do it as much as you like, as long as you're providing good content. And it's always important at the bottom of your post to include a link back to your website or to wherever you're trying to bring your customers. You don't want to put it right at the top or put it all throughout the article, but at the bottom of the post say, if you'd like to get in contact with me, please visit my website or wherever you'd like people to contact you. So if you don't have a personal blog, LinkedIn Pulse is a great place to be.
For sure. And building off that, putting it on LinkedIn Pulse, there's a lot of times, people build content and, it's the whole, hey, if we build it, they will come, is the old adage from Kevin Costner. But it's not really true. If you build it, you then got to share it. So one of the things, if you're going to build this content, you have to post your articles and post your videos and post the pictures, anything you have, you got to post them elsewhere. So you got to take them, you got to post it on, if you write an article, go and say it's on LinkedIn, say it's on your personal blog, go take that article, go post it to Facebook, post it to Twitter, right? Post it, you can post a picture of your local area on Instagram, and you can put a comment that says, hey, the link is in the bio, and you can put the link into the bio, and you can really share it there. This is one of the things that I think, we miss the mark with a lot of the times with real estate marketing is, we build the content, we put a lot of effort into building the content, but we don't match that effort with getting eyes on the content. So as a rule of thumb, however long you spend on building content, you should spend equally as long promoting it. The other thing is you don't promote it just once. Take this content, post it on Facebook, set a reminder in your calendar for 3 months from now and from 6 months from now and from 1 year from now. Go and write and say, share 9 tips for more effective meetings, share 5 best parks, share whatever that blog post was, whatever that piece of content was. Because, say you write an awesome piece of content, it may not hit the first time, but the second time or third time or fourth time you post it, if it's still relevant, it can take off. So this is something that, just to take note of, and make sure you put those notes in your calendar, set it so you get that alert, 6 months down the road, you're having your coffee, you're not even thinking about it, and it's, oh yeah, share that blog post again today. So that's just a nice, easy tip to make sure too that not only you have content to share today, but you have content to share 3, 6, 12 months from now. Next. So all of these programs, and they all have analytics, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn, right? They all have analytics. One of the things you're going to want to do, and don't spend a ton of time in analytics, is there's so many numbers, it's easy to get confused, it's easy to sit there and dissect every number and what means this and what means that. What you really want to do is look at your high-level analytics and say, okay, if I look at my last month of Facebook posts, right, or I look at my last month of LinkedIn posts, what days did I do the best? And take 3 or 4 best days. Now write them all down and say, okay, is there any common theme in these 3 or 4 days, right? Did I share a video? Did I share something funny that day? Was I talking about seller tips, buyer tips? What was it that my audience was enjoying and gravitating towards? Once you find that out, you're then able to build a better strategy moving forward. You're able to produce more content that your audience is going to want. So don't get bogged down in analytics, but definitely don't ignore them, and make sure you're able to go through, find the ones that are good, and then you'll see as your strategy gets better, the longer you're doing this with social, the better your content's going to get.
And one of the things we want to note is that if you haven't checked your analytics setup yet, there are a couple of things that we can provide you as tips. The main thing to keep in mind is across all of the major social networks, in particular Facebook and Twitter, images perform much better than simple text posts. So if you're sharing something on Twitter, be sure that you're attaching an image to that as well. If you're sharing something on Facebook, in particular if it's a property, Facebook actually allows you to add up to 4 pictures to that particular post. You're going to want to take advantage of this. Share as many photos as Facebook will allow you to that single post. 4 is great because all 4 display within the post. More than that, and people have to start clicking to slide over to see the extra photos. But if you share 4 photos within a Facebook post, you're going to get more engagement with that post than if you only shared 1 picture or if you shared none. So that's a little tip. Be sure that you're using your photos. If you're sharing your property detail page from Listingbook, that's a great way to do it because the photo will automatically propagate. And if you'd like to add more, then you can just add more to the post. So that's a tip that we definitely recommend for anyone who's sharing properties on social media.
Definitely. Our next tip 6, and this is really, I think, the biggest tip in general. And this is just, and we're going to kind of build off this as we move through the rest of the webinar, but as you market yourself and as you go to build your brand, you need to start conversations, and you need to start real conversations with people. So that means if you see people talking about the best ways to landscape the front yard, and you have some insight, or hey, my son is going to this school, da 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 da, go in and actually comment and say, hey, if you have a truth, it has to be truthful. Hey, my son went there from grades 10 to 12, loved it, whatever it may be. This is something you can do on all networks. So we really want to make it's a mind. You have to change the way that we act in patterns with. Right now, everyone browses social media. Let's engage with social media. Let's go out. Let's engage with people. So you can see here is a shot from my Twitter feed. And we see Shelly Stone at the bottom. I was on there. I put in hashtag real estate into Twitter. And Shelly was talking about agent retention numbers, right? And she was saying, she was talking about how to improve them. And I went back, and I went back and forth with a couple, methods that might improve retention. Now Shelly follows me on Twitter. I follow her. We engage pretty regularly. That's a real connection, right? Do I know if Shelly and I are ever going to do business later on down the road? I don't. But I do know there's a genuine connection. And I know now that if I had to ask for an endorsement, or if I had to go and ask for a favor, I'm much more likely to get it with regards to, internet marketing or sharing a property or whatever it may be. So it's really about going out and starting conversations with people and starting authentic conversations.
And in today's day and age in social media, this is really more important than ever. It may seem intuitive to be starting to build conversations with people, but it's amazing how many people actually miss the mark on this. So many people are subscribed to services that automate this stuff and send out basically spam to people that they comment on everything that they do, or they retweet everything that they do, and it's very easy for a real person using Twitter who is your intended audience. Obviously, we want to be attracting real people, not people who are automating their Twitter feed. But real people can cut through the BS. They know when someone is actually messaging them and when it's a fake bot sending them a message on Twitter or on Facebook. So if you take the time out to have real conversations, to contribute when people are asking questions that you're knowledgeable about, and in particular in your area, it's a great way to build connections going forward on all social media platforms. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you have a spare couple minutes of your day you're waiting on client, open up Twitter, see what people are saying, and see if there's any value that you can add, because that'll really get you a long way to building a bigger following and improving your brand standing on social media.
And to build on that, we know that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, this is where the millennials are. And millennial buyers, it's going to be the biggest demographic ever for home buying. So it's going to be bigger than the baby boomers. This is coming. The millennials are getting ready to purchase. Some of them who are 27, 28 years old right now are looking at properties. They might not enter the market for another 2 years, right? We know the average first-time home buyer is 31 years old. So that doesn't mean that 28 and 29-year-olds aren't thinking about it. So when they're thinking about it, they're looking for useful information, right? They're looking for useful information months, years, and years out. They want to know where are the best neighborhoods so they can start looking at houses. I want to know where the best neighborhood is before I start seeing, certain houses in that neighborhood. I want to know where should I go, right? And then once I figure that out, I can then find a property. This is something just with, it's easy to look at these conversations and look at social and go, oh, that's, what's the ROI? It's worthless, right? But it's one of those things where, like, you can't measure it outright, right? But if you had to look and get the ROI of your best friend, you don't know what that is either, right? Because they're influencing you, they're helping your decisions, everything. So if they tell you, they recommend something, you're going to listen to it. So if you can do that with social, create a connection, people are going to come back and they're going to engage with you when the time is right. We know today that 57% of consumers, it's 57% of the sales process is done before a consumer contacts a business. So what that means is that people are checking out your page, they're checking out your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn long before they contact you. And they're evaluating you against other agents. They're evaluating you against all other options because they want to sell or they want to buy a property and they want to do it with someone who is the best equipped, right? So how do they find out? They go to your website. They go to your social media channels. Are you active? Do you have updated photos? All those things that we've been mentioning, right? That's what they're going to look at. And then they're going to base their decision, and then they're going to contact you. And then from there, that's where you work your magic, right, as an agent. And you build that interpersonal connection in real life. But online, the connection's already 60% there. That's before you even get in contact with them. So it's just super important to have that in the back of your head as you're going through and building content. Are you giving value? Are you creating connections? Our next tip. So I'm sure everyone who has a LinkedIn page right now, I'm sure has a bunch of endorsements for skills that they don't really have, or at least I do. I have I have people endorsing me all the time for skills that I quite frankly don't have. I get endorsed on the regular for Microsoft Office. I know how to use Word and PowerPoint, but I can't do Excel. I can't do, I'm actually quite bad at those. But I get endorsed for them, right? Because it's easy. People say, hey, endorse Jordan for public speaking. Endorse Jordan for this. So they go, they click it, it's easy, and they think that they've handed out an internet high five. Now, though it seems good from the outside, what it really is it's the easy way out. Instead, if you truly want to make connections that are, deeper than just an endorsement on LinkedIn, write recommendations. And these are make these real. So as you can see here, I went and the director of marketing for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Carolina, I went and actually wrote a recommendation on her wall. Hey, her work ethic and personality are both contagious. And I wrote that, and that was completely genuine. So I would write one recommendation a week of someone you've actually worked with and when you had a positive experience. And I do this for a couple of reasons. First, referrals. Referrals are your lifeblood. Referrals, they make the car go when it comes to real estate sales, right? We all know this. Somebody, if you read a recommendation for them and say, it was such a pleasure working with, John Smith, I'm sure he's as happy in all facets of life, right? Whatever it is that you write about them. Say you work with them prior. Now, a couple of things happen. John gets that notification and he feels all warm and fuzzy inside, right? He sees that, he sees the recommendation, he feels warm and fuzzy because it's a genuinely nice thing that you've done on the internet. You've said to your network and to his, hey, this guy's awesome, or hey, this woman is just a stand-up woman. This is someone you should work with. You've given that out to them long before you've asked for any referrals or anything. That feeling alone is something that will really do you favors down the road, because if you need John, or if John hears about somebody who needs a real estate agent, he's going to go to you first. He's going to recommend you first because you made him feel warm and fuzzy, and we have a natural tendency to want to reciprocate. So it's one of those things that if you do that and you take advantage, you're going to see the return.
And you know, you want to talk about client retention. I mean, I know that's what Listingbook is all about, and I know that's something that obviously matters to every single real estate agent out there. When it comes to client retention, if you write a recommendation on someone's LinkedIn page, guess what? That recommendation stays on the front of their page for life. So every single time they log into LinkedIn, they're going to be reminded that you thought enough to take the time to write a recommendation for them on their LinkedIn page. They're going to see that every single time they log into LinkedIn. There's no better way to stay at the top of someone's mind than to write a recommendation on LinkedIn. So we really, really highly recommend that you take the time and give people recommendations. It's a great way to stay top of mind to people and retain those clients that you do make.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things in real estate is we know that 85% of home buyers and sellers would like to use the same agent again in their next purchase. But the sad fact is that 15% of people actually do. And this is because we're dealing with a 5 to 7 year sales cycle between homes. And it's, as agents, you know, we get programmed. An agent goes from, I need to get the next sale, right? I need to get the next commission. I need to get, and it's go, 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 foot on the gas. And a lot of times it's easy to forget about connections you've already made. This is, like Justin said, you'll be on their wall. Every time they go back to LinkedIn, they're going to see that you said something positive about them. That is powerful. So if that's one thing you take away, you know, go and just do that for somebody you've worked with, and you'll be surprised because you'll probably get a message from them, a text message maybe saying, hey, that was awesome, whatever it may be, right? Make people feel good and make people feel good about their interactions with you. They're going to want to do business with you. Our next tip. So the next tip is really important. And this is to not be siloed with where you engage. We want to make sure that when you're engaging with people, you're engaging across different networks. So we want to find users, we want to find audiences in different networks, because here's the thing is if you're talking to a 27, 28-year-old, they're probably hanging out and have different online tendencies than a 45 to 50-year-old, though, you know, they're both in your target market. So we want to make sure that we're going and we're finding people, we're finding the right people on each social network. So one of the things you can do on Twitter and on Instagram is you actually have the ability to go in, and this is probably the most underused feature of both of these networks. You can go in and see what people are talking about in your local area. So you can go and see right now what people are talking about. Actually, you know what? You can, yeah, I'm going to show you guys an example at the end of this. I'm going to load up Twitter, and we're going to type it in for Raleigh or whatever. But if you have mobile on you right now, which everyone here does, I'm sure, I'm sure everyone has their cell phone within arm's reach or is on it currently, checking Facebook or Instagram. That is your biggest weapon in marketing. And it's something that we all forget that we have. You have something that can take pictures and connect you to all different networks right in the palm of your hands. You can also search and see what people, like here on Instagram, in Raleigh are talking about. So if I were to go on Instagram and say I was an agent in Raleigh, North Carolina, I would go and see there's a picture here with a bike. I would click on that picture, and I bet you the caption reads, hey, I just got my new bike, can't wait to take it around, you know, Raleigh. Go in to that, leave a comment, say, you know, hey, love Raleigh, you should check out this neighborhood, or I used to cycle in these neighborhoods, or, oh, they have a great, you know, or you could even go on, say you don't have anything to do with the bike. Go and Google cycling groups Raleigh and find 2 or 3 of them and go back and be like, oh, hey, yeah, I heard of this cycling group, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Have you heard of it? Start a real conversation with people. This is going to get them interacting with you, liking your account, and starting to follow your messaging. So why is this important with regards to Listingbook? This is something that Listingbook really, really helps agents and consumers with. Is they have a mobile app. In the mobile application, it keeps consumers coming back to you. So if they're searching, you go and you can give your consumers a mobile app where they can download it and search for properties. And if they go through and search for properties within that app, leads will come to you. So it's one of these things where you're giving a consumer a better experience. We know that 30% of all internet users right now are mobile only. And it really helps. You're on the go, you're in your car, you're in meetings, you're at open houses. You know, you don't always have a laptop right next to you. So this is something you can give out to people, and it's very useful.
And it's like Jordan was saying, you know, he mentioned on the previous slide that your biggest secret weapon is your mobile phone, which is always in reach of you. And you got to remember that if that's your secret weapon, guess what the consumer's secret weapon is? It's also their mobile phone. 50% of search engine traffic is coming directly from mobile phones. A lot of people are searching for houses on their phone, and we want to make sure, Listingbook wants to make sure, that when someone's searching for a property, that they're going to stay with you and not go to some other website to be searching for a home. So if you have clients and you're signed up for Listingbook, you can send this app out directly to your clients, and that way when they search within Listingbook, you'll be able to see what they're searching for, when they're searching for it, if they're changing any of the categories that they're searching for, houses that they've saved that they've liked. It's a great way to capture that mobile traffic and make sure that you retain your clients, whether they're searching from a desktop computer or a mobile phone. We can't stress enough that this is the way that the consumer behavior is trending. While search engine traffic might be only at 50% now, and I say only, which is still unbelievable, but that number is growing every single year. It really is defeating the desktop when it comes to searching, and that includes for searching for real estate properties. So if you want to have a secret weapon literally in your back pocket, it's the Listingbook mobile app. That will keep your clients within the Listingbook system, and you will be able to continue to develop relationships with those people. So, I mean, this is one of our favorite features of Listingbook, and I think it's something that Jordan and I got really excited about when we considered partnering for this webinar. Is that this app is just it's incredibly powerful, and we highly recommend that you guys check it out. It's a really great tool to retain your clients.
No, definitely, and that's one of the things too that I think, as Justin mentioned, right? It's exciting. It's something that I think we should all get excited about, because all the slides that we've talked about previous to this can all be handled and managed from your mobile phone. And this Listingbook application is just that next step, that kind of icing on the cake that'll help you with regards to getting consumers involved in searching for properties. So, tip 9, and this is really the thought process that every single real estate marketer and real estate agent who you guys all have to start, we all have to think like this. The world, anyone who's marketing anything, and that is to think in terms of give, ask, right? With a 5 to 7 year sales cycle, if we're just constantly asking and saying, hey, right, come to my open house, hey, buy this property, hey, give me referrals, people are going to stop listening, right? Because nobody wants to be around somebody, nobody wants to hear anybody who's always asking for stuff. So instead, we need to change our thinking, and we need to think, okay, I'm going to give value, I'm going to give information, right? I'm going to give, you guys all have information in your zip codes that nobody else could have. You have firsthand experience what the parks are like. You know exactly what the schools are like. You know where the best restaurants to eat are because you go there. This is useful information for somebody who's moving into your zip code. So take it and really use it to the fullest. We see here, this is a prime example. So this is Jessica Edwards. I typed in real estate tips into YouTube, right? And Jessica Edwards came up, and she had this video, 5 tips for first-time home sellers. Now, she gave 5 tips, genuine tips, didn't ask for anything. She said, okay, guys, see you later. She was building trust and we talked about 57% of the sales cycle being done before they contact you. If you put out a video like this or content like this, you're going a large part in that 57%. You're building trust. People are thinking, Jessica knows what she's talking about. And then we look at how many people have seen it. I mean, 3,310 people have seen this video, which is 5 first-time tips for home sellers. It's not, hey, here's my open house, right? She's giving value to the consumer, and she's getting paid tenfold or 100-fold with 3,000 people coming back and watching her video. As we said earlier, not getting discouraged. 3,000 people, take the last high school football game you went to, look at every single person in the stands and on the field, and now imagine they're listening to what you have to say, right? That is what you've done. When you go and you create value for people, you now create a platform for you to speak. So you're able to give, and then you can ask when it comes time, hey, I'd like a referral. If anyone has referrals, I have this deal, or whatever you do.
And remember, Jordan, those 3,000 people that are in the football stadium, they're not football fans, they're real estate fans. They are people who are interested in learning about what you have to give, or that are interested in 5 tips for first-time home sellers. Those are the people that are watching this video by Jessica all the way to the end. It's not random people, it's people who have literally typed into YouTube, what are some real estate tips for home sellers? So you're getting in front of the right audience. It's not like you're just yelling into a crowd of random people. You have a targeted group of people who are watching your videos. So it's just so important. We can't stress imagery and photos and imagery and photos are the same thing, but imagery and videos, we can't stress using them enough. It's so important in this space.
Yeah, going down to the local mall in the food court and yelling out 5 real estate tips for home sellers, probably not what we'd recommend.
Tried and failed.
So with that, we're going to get into some don'ts and just some common mishaps that we see. So a lot of times with crafting a good strategy for social and for brand building, a lot of that actually revolves around cutting out some of the bad stuff you might be doing or some of the no-nos. So we got a couple of things that you got to avoid doing. And I know sometimes they seem like the right thing or the easy thing or the thing to do, but this is stuff that we definitely got to avoid. So the first thing, and this speaks back to blogging, any content you put out, it can't be the hard sell. It can't be the, hey, buy from me today, please buy from me, I'm the greatest, buy from me, right? That's going to fall upon deaf ears. You are going to waste your time writing it, and not only are people not going to respond to it, they're not going to come and purchase, they actually are going to be annoyed when they read it. So this is a LinkedIn Pulse article, and when you post something on LinkedIn Pulse, every single person in your professional network is notified that you have wrote something. So they get a notification pushed to their phone. Sometimes they get emails. Next time they log into LinkedIn, they get a notification similar to if someone had, viewed their profile or added them. And if they go to this blog post and it's, hey, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, and you're the acquaintance, you're like, this is a person on my LinkedIn who's an acquaintance. That's going to start to annoy people and annoy the consumer. That's not the feeling that you want to leave with people. It's similar to, if you get a phone call from Comcast or AT&T and you see that, that caller ID, you're not feeling too excited most times about talking to your teleservice provider, right? But if your best friend's calling you, you're eager to answer the phone and say, hey, what's up, right? So you got to find a happy medium between that, right? Where are you when people see your name? What do they feel? What is the emotion they have behind your name? So just remember not to hard sell. Next, and this comes back to the first thing we said, right? You have to have an up-to-date profile. Your branding starts with your photo, your name, your colors, everything. You have to go through right now, do a self-audit. Before you go and look at the competitors and who's doing a great job, look at yourself and look at all your accounts and say, am I doing the best job that I can right now at representing myself and my business? Because if somebody Googles your name, the first 5 things that are going to show up are going to be your website, your Twitter account, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, right? They're going to go to that and they're going to make judgments on you there. So if we don't have a photo, if we have old work history, whatever that may be, we're going to lose out on that. So to kind of build up this with Listingbook, this is one of those things that helps solve that problem, right? the listing book pages that you send out to clients, and when clients are searching, are fully branded to you. So if they're fully branded to you, that means wherever they go through, they're searching, your contact information is there. They know you're the trusted source, that you built up that reputation on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now somebody's ready to purchase. They're going to come in through Listing Book. They're going to work. They're going to see your branding, your logo, and they're going to be working. It's working with you, right? They're in your personal office, and they're doing what they need to do with regards to finding real estate, and you're along with them the entire time.
And when you do sign up for Listing Book, be sure that the image that you use here, try and keep it as the same image that you would use on Facebook and Twitter. Just keep that branding across all platforms the same, so that people, they remember you, and that the branding is consistent. Keep your logo the same in every spot. Use the same dimensions. It's really important, and be sure that all that contact information is up to date. That we can't stress that enough. Obviously, that's the most important thing. We need people to be able to give you a call if they want to talk to you. Just be sure to keep that consistent across all of your branding.
And next, don't spam people. Whatever you do, if somebody connects with you on LinkedIn, that's you've given one thing, you've given value. I want to give a connection, right? But we've all done it where someone has added us on LinkedIn or followed us on Twitter and then immediately says, hey, buy stuff from me right after. This is going to annoy people, right? Just don't do it. That's just plain and simple. When people will come to you when they're ready to purchase, right? Things like this, spamming people, it's kind of like driving with your feet. Yeah, it may work once in a while, but it should just be generally avoided at all costs, right? Let's keep it safe. Let's keep it real, and everyone around you will appreciate it. Much like if you don't drive with your feet.
That is exactly how bad spamming people is. It is just like driving with your feet. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
So the last part of this, guys, with branding, and branding is it's a long-term play, right? You're going to be doing this for the next, if you're a new agent, 40 years of your life. And even if you're a seasoned agent, you have 25 years left of selling real estate. This is one of those things that don't get discouraged if you don't see, hyper growth, and you see all this viral marketing, all these things you see. Don't be discouraged, right? Like we said earlier, if you get 30 people, you get 40 people to listen to what you have to say, focus on making it the best experience for those 30 or 40 people, and it'll pay off in the long run. So to put that up, I showed you guys a post earlier where, I had 5,000 people read something, right? Here's something I posted. It was actually posted, 2 months afterwards. And I put way more effort into this blog post and got 75 people. So I can view this as, hey, right, this is discouraging. I only have 75 people. Or I can think, 75 people stopped their day to read what I had to say. So I like to look at and focus on the latter and think, okay, I have 75 people who are following what I'm doing, right? So that's cool. We move on.
And we want to touch a little bit now, as we come to the end of the webinar here, we want to touch on a couple of the Listing Book points that we went through, because they're so important, and we really do want to thank Listing Book for sponsoring this webinar. But to touch again on the branding issue, it's just so important to keep your branding across all platforms the same. And Listing Book, it really allows you to do that. It allows you to keep your brand at the forefront of any property detail page that you send out to a client. Anytime they're searching, to have your name and contact information there and your logo, that's so important. Coupled with the fact that people can then share the property detail pages, that you can share the property detail page to any of your social networks, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest. I mean, it just makes it so easy for you. When you have a featured listing, or you have a listing that you think would be great for someone in particular, you can share those on those social networks. You can tag people in the posts, or you can email the property directly to someone. So it's just that share functionality is something that we just don't see enough of, and we think that it's a tool that agents can really use to increase their marketing efforts and to help get more clients. And then when it comes down to retaining clients, boy, there's not much out there that's quite like the Listing Book mobile app. I mean, This mobile app is something that you can text directly to your clients. They can download it directly from their phone. And now when they search, they'll have all the power of search that's packed into the Listingbook platform. They'll be able to search within school districts for homes, neighborhoods, not just cities or zip codes. They'll be able to click all the features of the property that they'd like to see, that they're looking for. And most importantly to you, when they do search and have that good experience, you get all the data back, so you can see who's searching, when they're searching, and what types of homes they're interested in, whether they favorited a home, and you know what, if they then want to call you, they can do it directly from there because it's branded just to you. So it really is a great tool for branding and for retaining your clients and for sharing the properties online. We can't stress enough how much we like this product, and it's been great to partner with them. And, I mean, John, I know we were speaking before the webinar, and I believe you had another announcement that you wanted to talk a little bit about Listingbook, that you had another announcement for all the attendees that are on right now. John, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, and I sure do. And first, just on behalf of Listingbook, thanks, Justin and Jordan, for such great content. And I'm confident that we've brought real value to the audience. As Justin and Jordan have indicated, personal branding is really important, not just in client acquisition, but also in client retention. And as Jordan shared on his last slide, NAR has indicated only about 12% use the same agent to purchase their next home, and that's about a 5 to 7 year cycle. So we believe the completion of the current transaction is just the beginning of a 5 to 7 year cycle towards the next purchase. The question is, will you be the trusted source for the next transaction? So to that end, Listingbook's committed to helping you create clients for life. And as you've seen, we continue to integrate features that allow you to remain relevant and in communication with your clients. And you've seen how we allow you to easily take advantage of the social communities that Justin and Jordan have just been talking about developing on these different networks like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So now to the bonus offer. We'd like to make available a special offer to those of you who have attended today's webinar, allowing you to explore and enjoy the benefits of our client acquisition and retention platform. So we're offering a free month of our Pro subscription, and importantly, along with a coach to help you take full advantage of the platform. So what we'd like to do to facilitate this is if you will go ahead and put in the chat area either your name or email address, then we'll have a coach contact you and help set up the free month subscription and help you take full advantage. Secondly, at the end of December, we'll be doing a drawing of all of you that are asking to take advantage of that free offer, that we'll draw 3 names from those that have worked with us through the month, and out of that give the 3 subscriptions for a full year of the Pro subscription free. So again, if you'll just put your name or email address in the chat box, we'll have a coach reach out to you today or tomorrow. And also there'll be an email sent after the event that will have a link that you can click on as well.
And
now the final, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
And now to the iPad. So we did a drawing today out of all of you that have been on the call and are with us now. And Stephanie Murphy has won the iPad. So what we'll do is reach out to you, Stephanie, by email to get the address and the appropriate information to get that sent to you. And I just want to finish by saying thank you so much for attending. We're looking forward to an event that we're having in January. And Justin, do you have a slide for that?
Yeah, so we are dropping we're going to drop the link in right now. So anyone who wants to attend, we are running another webinar in January that will talk about social media in 2016 and how to plan your marketing on the digital space then. So that registration link will be dropped in. Just some key takeaways here, guys, before we end and just head to Q&A. Justin and I will stay on as long as you guys want with regards to answering any questions you have. but just some key takeaways just to kind of drive it home. Just remember to be active, right? Let's spend 10 to 15 minutes a day really being active on social media, interacting with people, trying to start conversations. 2, and a couple of you guys have already done this, and I love it, right? I have gotten 3 LinkedIn requests already to connect, and I absolutely love it. Always add people, that's actionable advice, and people are rolling with it. So spend 10 minutes weekly and add people to LinkedIn, right? Lastly, let's just keep our mind on the long game and not get discouraged. If you have a room, if you have 30 people, think about that too when you put your blog post out. That's 30 people, and that's a lot to market to.
And just to reiterate, guys, we've dropped in the link for our next webinar. It's January 19th, so you can click that link within the chat box to sign up for our next webinar. We've also dropped a link in to get a free demo of Listingbook. As John was referencing before, if you enter your information there, you'll be entered to win one of 3 annual subscriptions to Listingbook. That's almost a $300 value, so it's a really great prize to win. So be sure to enter your information there. We've got that link in as well above the webinar link. If you don't want to click now, we're also sending out a follow-up email after the webinar with those links included, so be sure to check those out within your email inbox. And Jordan, I think it's time for us now to get to the questions.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a ton of questions coming in. The first one, which has come in 3 or 4 times in the last probably 2 minutes. Yes, there will be a recording of this, and we will actually email out a link. So anyone who wants a recording of this, they missed a part, want to go back, we're going to email out a link, and you'll be able to download this and have it, and you can go back to it whenever you want, as many times as you want. Right now on the screen, just so you guys do notice, there is contact information. So if you want to get any questions for Listingbook, sconnolly@listingbook.com, or if you have any questions for us, info@cavesocial.com. But with that, let's hop into these questions. Okay, so we got a question. We got a question here that, is it better to post on a Facebook business page with a smaller number of contacts or a personal page with many more contacts? So this is something that agents run into all the time, especially when they're first starting their business page. You know, they think, okay, I have 500 connections on my personal page, right? Should I be posting there, or should I be posting on my business page, which has 20 followers? So the answer is it should always be the business page, right? This is one of those things where if your friends and family want, they're going to know that you do real estate, and they will invite them to like your page and invite them to like it. I would only do that once. And people who are truly, close with you, and then send the messaging from there. The other thing I would do, I would spend $50 a month. I would say, okay, I'm going to spend $50 a month, $1.50 a day or whatever that may be. Yeah, $1.50 a day. And I would go through and work on building your following. So you can target people in your county who are, 28 years and older, and get them to start liking your page. Because now you've taken it one step past your initial network, and you're starting to build a network of, fans and followers and an audience that's outside of people you may have met. So this is something where I would definitely stick with the business page. We have a question. What if my photos don't look too good anymore, and if I'm a bit dated, if I look a bit old, and the photos are dated, sorry. So this is something where if you have any relatives who have a new phone, I would ask them to take a photo of you. Simple things like Instagram filters and can really make you look great. Go against a white wall or go against a solid color wall, take a headshot smiling, and it doesn't have to be a photo that's done professionally and costs hundreds of dollars. But as long as it's new, relevant, it's definitely okay to have a photo up of you that's been taken from a smartphone.
So we've got another question here that's Listingbook specific. It's, how do I send the link for the mobile app to my customers? So Listingbook's actually made it very simple. You have 2 options. You can either enter in your customer's phone number, and it'll send it directly to their phone. So you can let them know that you'll be sending that, and you can text it directly to them. You do that straight from the platform within Listingbook. So it's just a one-step process. It's extremely simple. And then the second way that you can do it is you can actually share your mobile app. You can share it by email or on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. You can share that with your following, and anyone who clicks that link to download the app will then have the app and be within your ecosystem. So that's a great way. If you're going to text it directly to someone, you're probably texting it to someone who's already your client or one of your prospects. And if you're sharing it on LinkedIn or Facebook, that's a great way to try and capture some other prospects and people that maybe you haven't worked with before, bring them into your ecosystem and try and then bring them on as clients. So you have two options there, but both are extremely simple. It's one of the great things about the mobile app product. Okay, we've got another question here that's specific to Instagram. We've got a question that says, can I add multiple photos to an Instagram post? I see other people do this, but I don't know how to do it myself. So it's actually really simple. Instagram has made a separate app that's called Layout, L-A-Y-O-U-T, Layout. And if you download that app, it actually allows you to put a collage of pictures from any of your properties into one picture. So you can select up to 4 pictures that you want to put in that collage, and you can then post that on Instagram, or you can save it to your phone and post it to any of your social networks. So Layout makes it really easy to get lots of pictures from a listing that you have, maybe a featured listing that you want to promote, and then share it directly to any of your social networks. So that's a great little tool, and we recommend it because when you're sharing multiple photos in one photo, they tend to get higher engagement. So that's a great option if you're looking to share multiple photos on Instagram or Facebook.
We have another question coming in here that says, I'm in a ski resort / summer activity, second home, resort home type market. And are there any thoughts for marketing? And yeah, if I had to do that today, what I would do, I would go to Instagram, I would go to Facebook, Twitter, and I would search for, let's say you are in Lake Tahoe, right? I would go hashtag, I would look at the hashtag Lake Tahoe, see who's posting about it, go in and look for somebody, you know, who kind of fits the mold, who's posting photos, and go back and look at their profile and see, hey, are they vacationing there pretty often? You know, maybe it's worth it for them to have a second home. And then you can go in and start building a connection with that person. Also, you know, if you build a connection with one person who vacations in Lake Tahoe, Winter Park, Colorado, if you can create a connection with one person who's vacationing there often, they're going to be speaking with other vacationers, other people who love the area and are willing to move there, right? Most people don't buy a vacation property without at least vacationing in that area once before. So get in, go to Instagram, go to Twitter, in Facebook, you can type in, you know, friends that like skiing and this area. The other thing you can do is I would target people. So if this is one of the things where you probably know exactly where people are moving to, right, for their second home to Winter Park, whether it's California, Washington, whatever it may be, right in Colorado. You can go in and target people who make over $1 million and live in the Denver area or live in the California area, and run Facebook targeted advertising towards them about, you know, vacationing or enjoying a vacation property in Winter Park. So that's how I would start. Obviously, there's, you know, a ton of levels, but off the top of my head, that's where I would go.
I've got one here, Jordan, about what are the best types of photos to post on Facebook. When it comes to types of photos, it's like we were talking about analytics. You're going to want to monitor and see what performs best after you post. But to start, there's a couple of things that we do know. Like we said, when you're posting properties, you're going to want to post multiple photos. But outside of properties, people really love to see behind-the-scene pictures. So what you're doing at your office, if you're doing something fun, you've got your phone on you, snap a photo, share it to Facebook. Those always get really high engagement. If you keep it personal and keep it light and fun, people are going to be that much more likely to engage with you. So be sure to be posting behind-the-scenes looks at what you're doing. If you're out showing a property to clients, snap a selfie with them. People love that kind of stuff. It's really going to help your engagement. So just always remember that you have the most powerful marketing tool right in your pocket, and you should be looking for ways that you can use it. So just always keep your phone in mind when you're thinking about social media.
And our last question here is just about how to stay within advertising guidelines and make sure you're not breaking any laws. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are actually very, they do a lot of due diligence in making sure that anything they put out is within guidelines. So if you try to do something, they will stop and tell you why you can't use that photo or why you can't make that claim. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Most of the stuff you're going to put out, it should be pretty ethical, should be within the lines. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, guys, that looks like it's it in terms of questions. So we're going to wrap this up. We will be sending out a copy of this so you guys can download it. I just want to wrap this up and say thanks again to John and the Listingbook team. We're really excited. We're going to be doing a series of webinars. So we're actually on the next one in January. This is one of the things, with us writing for Inman and bouncing around, and we have these companies all the time asking us to come and do webinars. We're really, really excited to do this next couple of webinars with Listingbook. Even today, you guys have been awesome with engagement, ton of questions. Like I said, people adding us on LinkedIn. Anytime we can see people taking advice we've given and put it right into action, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes us want to come back and do this all the time. So thanks again. If we don't see you until the new year, have a happy holidays. And I know a lot of you have requested a demo, so I know the coaches from Listingbook will be helping you out and showing you the power of that platform. So thanks again, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.